everyone, happy Dashara to all. And today we are going to learn about a very new concept of biology. So the concept is nutrition in animals. So you can download the notes from my website allaroundanirudh.000webhostapp.com. So what is this nutrition in animals about? So the introduction of this is that when any organisms take food from any other organism, then we call it as heterotrophic nutrition. So there are two types of heterotrophic nutrition. So the types of heterotrophic nutrition are saprophytic nutrition and holozoic nutrition. So what is this saprophytic nutrition? As you know that this type of nutrition is usually seen in fungi and other microorganisms. So my question here is, what is this microorganism about? So microorganism means micro. So what is the meaning of micro? Micro means 10 to the power of minus 6 meter. So micro means too much small. Okay, micro means too much small, and organisms means the small organisms are known as the microorganisms. Just a simple thing. Okay. Now the organisms secrete digestive enzymes on food and then ingest the simple substance. They feed on the dead animals and plants. So these microorganisms or the saprophytic nutrition follower, what does they do? They feed on the dead animals and plants. Okay. Now comes our holozoic nutrition. So this type of nutrition is usually found in humans and other animals. They take the food which is prepared by the autotrophs. They have some process of nutrition. So they have some process of nutrition, and this depends on the autotrophs. So who are these autotrophs? I have discussed in the video named nutrition in plants. Remember, if you have seen that video, you would know that how these autotrophs prepare their food. I have discussed about the photosynthesis, about how is the photosynthesis done, then light reaction, dark reaction, ill reaction, then all the things I have discussed in that video. If you haven't seen that video, please go and see it. Now these autotrophs are prepared their own food. They prepare their own food, and this holozoic nutrition, animals like humans and other animals like bear. So we get another animal named bear. So this bear also follows this holozoic nutrition. Okay, humans, bears, then deer, then tiger, then there are many like that, those who follow this type of nutrition. So let's move on to our next slide and see the processes of nutrition in holozoic nutrition. So first process is ingestion. Ingestion means digestion, then absorption, assimilation and egestion. So this is the overview of the process of nutrition, holozoic nutrition. Okay, these are the overview: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. Remember this, these are the key points. So these are the key points. Remember this, these are the key points. Now what is this ingestion? This is a stage of intake of the food. We use our mouth to take our food. In the mouth we have many parts which take the food, takes the part in this. The things that take the part here are the teeth, tongue, saliva and other things. So teeth means the one which we use to chew our food, then tongue we used for chewing tasting the food, then saliva for making it wet and for digesting the food. So this teeth. So here you can see one image of teeth. It is this outer part is the enamel, then dentine, then gingiva or gum, pulp cavity. This is the pulp where the blood vessels and the nerves are connected. Then there are periodontal ligament, root canal, bone. Then these are the bones, root. So these are the types. That means these are the parts, and these are the whole region. This all the things. This dentine enamel and these. What is this? This is pulp. So this comprises of the crown. Then neck, we have neck as the geneva, and then root, we have root as under the root which we have. So teeth helps us to chew and food and break down into smaller pieces for better digestion. We have 4 types of teeth: incisors, 4 in each jaw; canines, 2 in each jaw; premolars, 4 in each jaw; molars, 6 in each jaw. Okay. So structure of teeth, we have I have now discussed that crown, neck and root. So this is only apex or crown. This crown is also known as apex. So apex or crown, then neck, then we have root. Okay, these are the structures of teeth. So what is apex or crown? Exposed part of the teeth which contains enamel, dentine, dental pulp in it is the apex or crown. Then what is enamel? Enamel, as I used thing, it covers the surface of the dental crown and is made of 92% inorganic substance, calcium phosphate, hence considered as the hardest part of the body. If the Streptococcus mutans or Lactobacillus acidophilus bacteria enters our mouth and it stays in the teeth, then it produces lactic acid which decays our teeth. So here I have also mentioned about how our teeth are decayed. Suppose, let's go to this slide. Suppose the Helicobacter pylori, not, that is the Lactobacillus acidophilus. So Lactobacillus acidophilus. Okay, so this is one type of bacteria. If by chance this bacteria enters your mouth and it remains in the teeth, then this Lactobacillus acidophilus produces lactic acid. So it produces what? It produces lactic acid. Okay, so it produces lactic acid which decays. That means when this lactic acid reacts with our enamel or the part of enamel, then this enamel starts decaying. That means it becomes soluble, and when we drink water, it goes into our stomach. So anything won't happen if it goes to stomach, but our teeth will just decay. That means we say that don't eat chocolate and don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat sugar lot, so that this can't happen, decay can't happen. Okay. So this enamel has 92% of the inorganic substance. What is that? Calcium phosphate. So if any question comes, that okay, so if a question comes that what is the hardest part of our body, so what will be the answer? The answer will be this enamel or the teeth. Teeth is the hardest because 92% of the enamel is made of inorganic substance called calcium phosphate. So it is most important thing. So hence considered as the hardest part of the body. And what I have said that if Streptococcus mutans or Lactobacillus acidophilus, this is the name of the bacteria, enters our mouth and stays in the teeth, then it produces lactic acid which can decay our teeth. So it is written only, just a simple language. I have only written it. There is no any bookish language or anything. So it is dentine, situated inside the enamel. So as I have said that apex of the crown, it is one part of the apex or crown, and it is situated just inside enamel. It is softer than enamel and small tube filled with tissue fluid called dentine tubule which run inside the dentine. So there is the tissue fluid called dentile tubule which run inside the dentine. Okay, you have to just remember this. So what is dental pulp? Small cavity present inside teeth is called pulp cavity. It contains nerve fibers, blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, and provide nutrition to dentine. Okay, so this dental pulp that I have said here, This is the dental pulp. As you can see, this region is the dental pulp. This region is the dental pulp where these blood vessels, lymphatic blood vessels comes. Okay. So now the neck region, as the crown or the apex region is there, there is neck region also. Middle small portion of the teeth covered with gum, gingiva. Gum provides strength to the teeth. You say it as gingiva or gingiva, anything you say. Gum provides strength to the teeth. So let us go and see our picture. See, this thing is attached with the bone to make these teeth. Let me erase it. It is very much looking dirty. Okay. So here, as you can see, this is the gum. This is the gum region or the neck region. Here it attaches this teeth. So this teeth is placed in its position because of the neck region and the gingiva or gum. Okay. So this provides strength and to the teeth. This is the main function of this neck. Okay. Now neck provides the strength to the teeth. Now root. Innermost part attached to the alveolar bone with the help of cementum. Cementum is a specialized calcified substance that covers the root of the teeth. Okay. So it is cementum, it should be compentum. Okay, I have written wrong. Now dentition in human. This is the most important. It is one of the most important if you study about the teeth. So first of all is heterodont, different teeth having different size. Then diphyodont, two sets of teeth and temporary, and another is permanent teeth. Then thecodont, teeth possesses the root. Bunodont, thick teeth. Cheek teeth possesses curves. So what is the meaning of this? Heterodont means different teeth having different size. So heterodont is type of characteristics of teeth which says that our different types of teeth have different types of size. That means some is larger, some is smaller. So diphyodont means we have two sets of teeth. One is temporary, which is also known as milk teeth, and one is permanent teeth, which remains for our whole life. And thecodont means teeth possesses root. That means teeth is too much strong and it possesses the root. So bunodont is the cheek teeth which possesses small curve. That means what are the cheek teeth? Molars and premolars. What are they used for? They are used for crushing the food and grinding the food. So we need some curves to do so. That's why this is known as this. Now comes the tongue. Tongue helps us. Tongue has a major role in human digestion. It helps us to have taste of any food, be it salty, sweet, sour, bitter, or anything. It also helps in mixing the chewed food. So it helps in mixing the chewed food. Suppose the food is there and you have crushed it and grinded it. Now you have to mix it with saliva. I will be coming what is saliva. So you have to mix it with saliva so that it can be digested very much easily. So what is saliva? Saliva is also major part of the digestive process. It is secreted by the salivary gland. We have three types of salivary gland. What are those? We have three types of salivary gland, and these are parotid, submandibular, and sublingual. Okay. So salivary, salivary gland. This saliva contains one enzyme. What is the name of the enzyme? Salivary amylase, and the pH of salivary amylase is 6.4 to 7.1, and it is bit acidic and neutral. As it is 7.7, so it is neutral. 7.1 is bit basic, so much little basic. Okay, which helps in digest boiled starch like rice. This is the important thing. Okay, I'm just highlighting it. Digests boiled starch like rice. So what is the main digestive thing that starts from our mouth is because of this saliva. Saliva helps in starting the digestion process from the mouth only. So what does it digest? It digests the boiled starch like rice. Okay, the rice is polysaccharide, which is broken down into maltose, which is disaccharide. The polysaccharide is a chain of many sugar molecules, while disaccharide is the chain of only 2 sugar molecules. Saliva makes the food wet to swallow. So this is another point, and I have said that polysaccharide chain and the sugar molecules, this thing is this polysaccharide and the disaccharide. Okay, so there are many molecules of sugar like this. You can say there are many molecules of sugar like this, which is bound in a long chain. So this is the rice, which is the polysaccharide. Poly means many. As you know, the polygon means it describes more than 2. It describes more than 2 sides, which is done. So I am not going to it. This is a polysaccharide which has a chain of many molecules, and when this enzyme salivary amylase, this enzyme reacts with this and it breaks down into two. Okay, so it breaks down into two molecules, and this 2 molecule is known as disaccharide. You can say disaccharide. So di means 2, that's why it is written. Now what is the work of esophagus or food pipe? As we know that when we chew the food and we mix it with saliva in the mouth, then we have to transfer it to the stomach for digestion purpose. So who takes the work for that? It is our that esophagus or the food pipe which carries out this function. So esophagus is also known as food pipe. It carries the chewed or swallowed food from the mouth towards the stomach. This is the obvious function. Now this is the image. This is the image of esophagus. Esophagus. And this is what? This is our mouth region. I think you're not getting. So this is the mouth region. From where we take the food and we do other purposes here like chewing and other thing, and we gulp it inside. And this is as it is the esophagus, it goes to the esophagus. Okay, and this is the windpipe or the larynx. Okay, and there is one part known as pharynx, which divides the food pipe and the windpipe. Okay, so digestion. The food is broken down into simple substance so as to absorb and assimilate the food. The nutrients that we digest are proteins, carbohydrates, fat, vitamins, minerals, etc. So the digestion is the process by which we break down the complex substance into simpler substance so that we can absorb easily and assimilate the food. And the things that we digest are this protein, carbohydrate, fat, vitamins, minerals, etc. So this is the digestion, just a brief thing. So digestion has one part, stomach, that I have just said. The stomach is a muscular organ located on the left side of the upper abdomen. The stomach receives food from the esophagus. As food reaches the end of esophagus, it enters the stomach through a muscular valve called lower esophageal sphincter. The stomach has 3 types of cells. It is J-shaped. It is mainly the place to digest protein. What is the work of stomach? To digest protein. Okay, just a simple thing. And this lower part of the stomach is known as esophageal sphincter. Sphincter is a type of muscle. And the stomach has 3 types of cells. I will be discussing it in the next slide. So what are the stomach cells? It is the mucous neck cell, peptic cells, oxantic cells. So mucous neck cells, peptic cells, oxantic cells. Remember it. What are oxantic cells? The oxantic cells secretes hydrochloric acid, which works to activate the peptic cell and kill the microbes which enter our stomach by chance. Then comes what are peptic cells? The peptic cells contain pepsinogen and prorenin. These are what? These are the proenzyme. proenzyme. So I have discussed in the video known as nutrition in plants that what are enzymes? Enzymes that does nothing, it just increases the rate of doing one work. And proenzyme means which is not activated, which is in rest mode. And who does the work to activate it? HCl. Pepsinogen and prorenin is activated by the HCl to pepsin and renin. See here pepsin and here renin. As you can see, pepsin and this renin. So it is pro added and ogen added. Okay, so if you can see ogen and pro added in anything, then you will understand that it is a proenzyme, and when it is not added, it is an enzyme. So this helps to digest protein. The digest protein is known as proteolysis. This means the process of digestion of protein is called proteolysis. The end product of protein digestion is amino acid. So when you will get here I have not mentioned the full stop. Okay, so whenever you will see amino acid, then you will understand that this protein is digested. But that is something to be told, that in stomach the complete digestion of protein does not take place. Now what is the work of mucous neck cell? The mucous neck cell secretes mucus which converts which covers the stomach wall, so that the gastric juice cannot harm the wall of stomach and produce ulcer. When the bacteria called Helicobacter pylori enters our stomach from the contaminated food, then it eats the mucus which is harmful and cause ulcer. So what is this written? I know it's confusing to you because these are the heavy terms, Helicobacter pylori and this contaminated, all these things. So mucous neck cell secretes mucus. So mucus is that when you have cough and cold, and when some liquid type thing comes out from your nose, that is only the mucus. Okay, that is a very much not accepted thing and looks dirty. The mucus secretes the means the mucous neck cell secretes the mucus which covers the stomach wall. So have you ever wondered that why is our stomach like this? This is our stomach, let's say, and whenever HCl is there, HCl or hydrochloric acid is there, then why it does not harm the wall? Because as we know that HCl is too much, means high range from 0 to 1.4, the pH of HCl, which is too much acidic. Why it does not harm our stomach walls? It is because this mucus protects it. The mucus covers the whole stomach wall, so that this gastric juice or the HCl cannot harm our stomach. And what is this Helicobacter pylori, or you can say Helicobacter pylori? So Helicobacter pylori, if enters our house, means enters our not house, our body, then what happens is that it eats the mucus. It has its favorite food. Like you suppose you have your favorite food as ice cream. So Helicobacter pylori's favorite food, this is one bacteria whose favorite food is mucus. If by chance this enters your body, then what will happen? Mucus will be destroyed, means it will be eaten by this Helicobacter pylori. And if it is eaten, then what will happen? This HCl will harm our stomach. Okay, and this can cause ulcer. Ulcer is the name of the disease which is caused when HCl just destroys the stomach wall. Okay, this is the picture of stomach that I have just now shown. This is the covered stomach and this is the open stomach. So this is the whole digestive system image. This is the esophagus, spelling is wrong, esophagus it should be, then mouth, tongue, and these are the sublingual gland, submandibular gland and parotid gland. These are the salivary glands that I have said, submandibular, sublingual and parotid. The pharynx, see here the pharynx, and there is one food pipe like this. The pharynx just separate the food pipe with the wind pipe. This is one wind pipe, and this is the esophagus or the food pipe. So this one is liver, this one is stomach, This is small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus, and all the things, spleen, pancreas, and all. So work of pepsin and renin. So protein in the presence of pepsin, which is the pH of 1 to 3.5, converts protein to primary protease. This is one enzyme. So when enzyme reacts with protein, it becomes primary protease, then again secondary protease, then peptone, then protein in the presence of renin becomes paracasein, then paracasein in the presence of calcium helps to convert it into calcium paracasein, then again to peptone. There is a short note that renin is not secreted by adults, but it is secreted by babies in little amount as needed to digest mother's milk, and mother's milk contains casein protein and mainly in calf family. So this renin is not secreted by the adults, like more than I think 2 or 3 years. The baby eat the mother's milk up to that time, and after that renin is not secreted because they don't need to digest renin, means casein protein. Casein protein is needed for the calf family to be digested. Calf family means the cow, goat, etc. etc. Then comes small intestine. The small intestine is a place for the final digestion of every food nutrients. The food which comes from the stomach is called chyme. The chyme has a pH of 1 to 1.5 to 3.5. There are 3 parts of small intestine: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. It is about 6.5 meter long. The small intestine is basic because of the presence of NaOHCO3, means NaHCO3. NaHCO3, what is it? It is a baking soda. Okay, so there are 3 parts of the small intestine: duodenum, jejunum, and ileum. And the small intestine is about 6.5 meter long. The small intestine is the final place for digestion. Final place of digestion where we digest the food. Okay, and the food which comes from the stomach is known as chyme. CHYME. Chyme is the food which comes from the stomach, and which is the pH of 1.5 to 3.5 because of the presence of HCl, and it is neutralized by the presence of NaHCO3, which is the baking soda. So important things about intestine. The wall of intestine secretes or contains glands which secrete intestinal juice that contains enzyme. They are enterokinase, intestinal lipase, disaccharides, nucleotides, nucleosides, erepsin. Okay, so this is, you can remember by singing enterokinase, intestinal lipase, disaccharides, nucleotides, nucleosides, erepsin. So you can remember it by singing. Then pancreas. Pancreas is that I have shown you here. See here, pancreas. This part is the pancreas. This yellow part, red part that I am showing, yellow part. So that I have said, pancreas. It secretes pancreatic juice which contain digestive enzyme like trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase, elastase, pancreatic amylase, pancreatic lactase, nucleotides. There are many things like this. So again you have to memorize this, that trypsinogen, chymotrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidase, elastase, pancreatic amylase, pancreatic lipase, nucleotides, like this. The pH of pancreas is 7.5 to 8 due to the presence of NaHCO3 base. Just I have told you. Important equations are trypsinogen in the presence of enterokinase goes and makes trypsin, and then chymotrypsinogen in the presence of trypsin makes it chymotrypsin. Then procarboxypeptidase in the presence of trypsin makes it procarboxypeptidase. Okay, this is the important equations. Now again there is another important equations. These are all the nutrition that are needed. So protein in the presence of trypsin becomes large peptide. Then large peptide in the presence of carboxypeptidase becomes dipeptide plus amino acid. Then protein in the presence of chymotrypsin becomes large peptide. Then large peptide in the presence of carboxypeptidase becomes dipeptide plus amino acid. Then elastin in the presence of elastase makes large peptide, and then large peptide in the presence of carboxypeptidase becomes dipeptide and plus amino acid. The amino acid and the peptides were linked with the peptide linkage, and then they were broken down into 2 peptide and 1 amino acid molecule. So there are 2 peptide plus 1 mole of amino acid. Okay, my handwriting is disgusting, so don't look at it. So they were just when they were linked, suppose it is linked like this. This is one amino acid and this is the peptide and peptide. Okay, they are linked like this a lot. These are linked like this. So when this reacts, then they break down like this. Okay. Then liver, it comes the fact of liver. It secretes bile juice and its temporarily stored in gallbladder and is released as about into small intestine when needed. Bile contains bile salt, sodium tauochloride and sodium glycrolide, water, phospholipids, pigments and cholesterol. Bile salt, phospholipids emulsify large lipid molecules into tiny lipids. So fat in the presence of bile juice converts into emulsified fat. Then emulsified fat in the presence of pancreatic lipase converts to fatty acid and glycerol. Then DNA. What is the full form of DNA? Deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, so DNA looks like very much like this. Very much interesting. So as you can see, these are the hydrogen bond. What are these? These are the hydrogen bond. And these small things, blue and green color, these are the nucleotide. Then nucleotide has two parts. Okay, so nucleotide has two parts. One is phosphate and another is nucleoside. Okay, so one is nucleotide and another is nucleoside. And then nucleoside has again two parts. Okay, two parts. One is pentose sugar. Pentose sugar means the sugar which is five sugar molecules attached. Pentose sugar. Then and another is nitrogenous base. Okay, then nitrogenous base is also divided into two parts, which is purine and pyrimidine. I am erasing here. Okay, so this is again divided into two parts. One is purine and another is pyrimidine. Okay, now this purine is divided into again two parts. This is a very much complex thing. One is adenine and then guanine. Adenine and then guanine. So guanine and adenine. Okay, then pyrimidine is also divided into two parts. One is cytosine, another is thymidine. Okay, so what is the actual result coming? Nucleotide, this DNA is divided into small things. These are the small things, green and yellow things. The small things are the nucleotide. The nucleotide is divided into phosphate and nucleoside. Nucleoside is divided into pentose sugar and nitrogenous base. And nitrogenous base is divided into purine and pyrimidine. Purine is divided into guanine and adenine. Pyrimidine is divided into cytosine and thymidine. Okay, just take a screenshot and take a screenshot. Okay, this is a very much important thing because I am not going to upload this annotation in my PDF. So it is important thing. You can take a screenshot. So what is this RNA? RNA is ribonucleic acid. As you can see, these are the hydrogen bond as usual, and this is the one strand. So here you can see double strand thing, but here it is single strand, but hydrogen bond is present. Here also you can say the same thing, nucleotide only. Okay, so this is the thing. So now this purine is 2 bond and pyrimidine is like 3 bond. So DNA and RNA digestion. Pancreatic juice also contains nucleus which diplomize DNA and RNA respectively. So DNA in the presence of nucleus becomes deoxyribonucleotides. RNA in the presence of nucleus becomes ribonucleotides. Okay, remember this. Then duodenum. Duodenum is a part of small intestine. As I have said that duodenum, and here it is duodenum. The lining of the duodenum is specialized for the absorption of small intestine which have been digested. Hence no digestion takes place. Here only absorption takes place. Food absorption. Then ileum. In the ileum, intestinal juice called succus entericus secreted by intestinal gland which contains erepsin, maltase, lactase, sucrase, lipase, nucleotidase, nucleosidase. These are the things, and here the final digestion takes place. Here is the last place where we can see the final digestion. So important equations of digestion in ileum, which is peptone in the presence of erepsin becomes amino acid. So when peptone, I have shown you, see here, here see here, work of pepsin and renin all converts into peptone. Okay, peptone. Then peptone in the presence of, here see, peptone in the presence of erepsin becomes amino acid. Maltase in the presence of maltase become 2 glucose molecule. Then lactose in the presence of lactase become glucose plus galactose. Sucrose in the presence of sucrase, sucrase. Here I have written wrongly. Sucrase, A. It should be A. Okay. Sucrose in the presence of sucrase becomes glucose plus fructose. The lipid in the presence of intestinal I dot lipase means intestinal lipase. It converts into fatty acid and glycerol. Then nucleotide in the presence of nucleotidase becomes a nucleoside plus phosphate, and nucleoside in the presence of nucleotidase becomes pentose sugar and nitrogenous base. Okay. Then comes absorption, the process in which digested food, small soluble, passes through the small intestine into bloodstream is called absorption. The wall of small intestine contains capillaries. The inner surface of small intestine has millions of tiny finger-like projection called villi, which provide large surface area and helps in rapid absorption of digested food. In the large intestine and also absorption of water takes place. There are three parts of here I have missed the means large intestine. Here I have missed large intestine. So there are 3 parts of large intestine: cecum, colon and rectum. So cecum and colon are absorption part and rectum is storage of undigested food and to be removed from the body. That means this cecum and colon absorbs the water. The reabsorption of water takes place in this large intestine, and this rectum helps in the digestion of storage of the undigested food which will be passed. Now assimilation. The food which is absorbed by the body is taken by the blood cell, which is absorbed is taken by the blood cell and used as energy, growth and repair is called assimilation. The digested food which is not utilized by your body immediately is stored in liver in the form of glycogen. Here I have written word 3 or just remove it. So stored in liver in the form of glycogen. Okay. Now egestion. The undigested food passes from small to large intestine where the final water absorption takes place, and then from the rectum it goes to anus and is removed by our body. So this is the same picture that I have shown you. Now digestive system in cockroach. This is also important thing. The alimentary canal of cockroach is divided into 3 regions: foregut, midgut and hindgut. The food opens into sac-like structure called crop to store food. The crop is followed by gizzards. Gizzard help in grinding of food as it processes 6 highly chitinous plate called teeth. A ring of 6 to 8 tubules called hepatic ceca are present at the junction of midgut and the hindgut, which secretes digestive enzymes. The hindgut is differentiated into ileum, colon and rectum. The rectum opens into anus, as usual in our human body also it happens. So these are the regions of the mouth like structure. Mandible, and this is also the mandible. Then this is the labrum, the labium. Then maxilla helps in the catching of the food. Hypopharynx helps, it works like teeth, means tongue. Then mandible works as like a, you can say, teeth, and labrum and labium works as the lip. And this is the alimentary canal of cockroach. Salivary pharynx, salivary gland, then salivary reservoir, esophagus, crop, gizzard, hepatic ceca, midgut, then malpighian tubulus, ileum, colon, rectum. Okay. Now digestive system in frog. Mouth opens into buccal cavity that leads to esophagus through pharynx. Esophagus opens into stomach, which is continued as intestine. Rectum finally opens outside via cloaca. In frog, the tongue is sticky to catch its prey and is attached at the front of its lower jaw. Hyoid apparatus lies below the tongue of the floor of the mouth and provides surface of attachment of tongue. Then this is the picture of frog alimentary canal. Then ruminant stomach. Ruminant stomach is a multi-chambered organ found in ruminants like cattle, sheep, goats, deer and antelope. Ruminant stomach has 4 compartments: rumen, reticulum, oomesum and abomesum. Okay, rumen. So rumen is the largest compartment. It is a primary site of microbial fermentation. It houses many microbes like cellulose and produces variety fatty acid by breaking down the lipid molecules. The food stored in rumen is regurgitated for rechewing in the mouth and is swallowed again. Reticulum. Reticulum is honeycomb shaped. It traps foreign objects that may be consumed, such as hardware, by animals. Suppose any cow eats some metal thing and it goes to the rectum, and directly it will go to the reticulum, so that, and it is trapped and operation must be done to remove it. Then omasum. It is a globe shaped structure having many folds that serve water absorption of the food. And this abomesum, this final compartment of the stomach is abomesum. This compartment is considered as a true stomach. True stomach means that it actually does the actual digestion takes place here. Which is in the present, as it is in the present of the gastric juice, HCl acid and the digestive enzymes break plant matter into the basic molecule components. Why it is a plant matter? Why it is plant matter? Because we know that cattle family belongs to the carnivorous, not herbivorous. Herbivores. You can say herbivores. Then this is the image. This is the image of the esophagus. Then rumen is the biggest structure. Then it comes reticulum. Then omasum, abomesum, and then comes the small intestine. And so here our lecture ends. So thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you like it. Then comment how was it. So bye bye and good night, good morning, good evening, anything. Bye.